Here we are again, folks. Let's get into this one. So, you have a secret society, a brotherhood. They use tools of architecture as symbols for morality. They have secret handshakes so they can recognize each other in public. They're obsessed with building temples, both physical ones and spiritual ones. You're thinking, yeah, that's Freemasonry. We know you won't shut up about it. But what if I told you I'm not talking about Masons? First, let me address you all. The support I'm receiving is amazing, so thank you very much. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. I genuinely appreciate you all. Let's get back to it. So I was talking about a group of mystic architects operating thousands of years ago in Syria and Asia Minor. Now we need to talk about the ancient mysteries, specifically the cult of Dionysus. And before you roll your eyes and say, wait, isn't Dionysus the guy with the wine and the chaotic parties? Just stick with me. Because the history books left out the best part, so let's look at this blueprint. In these ancient rites, you didn't just walk in. You had to prove yourself. They split the secrets into the lesser and the greater mysteries. Does this hierarchy ring a bell? First, you have the aspirant. He undergoes a purification by water. Has just testing the waters, bad pun intended, not sorry? This is almost a perfect mirror of the first degree in Masonry. They say it's all about internal purification. Then if you didn't wash out, you took an oath of silence. You were given preparatory instructions to understand the heavy stuff coming later. You were called a mystes. Basically, you're learning the ropes, getting ready for the real work. But here is where it gets a little spooky and undeniably weird. The greater mysteries. This is the master level. In the Dionysian ritual, they didn't just read you a pamphlet. It was like theater, visceral, primordial, pure passion. The candidate called the epopt, or eyewitness, had to act out a kind of tragedy. Specifically, the legend of the death of a hero god. They called it the aphonism, the disappearance or death. The candidate was actually put into a pastos, which is like a couch or a coffin as I understand it. He was then symbolically buried. There's screaming, there's lamentation, total darkness. It's honestly terrifying by our standards today. Then the mood shifts. They enact the euresis, or the discovery. They search for the body, and when the search is successful, the mourning of loss turns into a celebration of life. Sorrows turns to joy, and most importantly, light succeeds darkness. The candidate is raised from that coffin with presumably a new understanding. The unity of one God and the immortality of the soul. He's been redeemed from the death of sin. Now here is the oddest part for myself in this story. The people doing this weren't just priests. In Asia Minor, they were actually builders. They were a society of architects who combined theology with construction. They believed in charity. The rich supported, not gave to the poor. They were divided into lodges. We've heard this before, folks. They had superintendents. True history tells us that at Tyre, which is the ancient city famous for the splendor of its buildings, there were colonies of these exact mystic architects. So, when you look at the chain of history, connecting the ancient world to the modern Masonic lodge, you have to ask yourself, is it just a coincidence, or were these Tyrian builders the literal and spiritual ancestors of the Freemasons? The rituals, the degrees, the drama of death and rebirth, it's all there. It makes you wonder how new any of this really is, doesn't it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.